Well, thanks so much for coming out tonight, guys and girls. It's great for me to be here because this is like there's no better training for me than to do a ton of arm wrestling. The way we'll kind of do it is at any point, anything you guys want to ask, that's the most important thing. We'll talk about stuff. Otherwise, I'll kind of talk a bit. We'll arm wrestle, arm wrestle. But it's about what you guys want from me. I've loved arm wrestling like crazy since I was very young, and now I'm 40, almost 44. So I've been through a lot of the different phases of arm wrestling progression, and here I am, still loving it. So I guess where to start? I guess really. I know a bit about you guys. I feel like I haven't met a lot of you before. A lot of you guys, this is the first time. So that tells me a lot of you guys are quite new, which is great. It's great. When you come to practice, I think that what's really important for everybody to remember is safety. Okay, safety is super important in any program, and I think that it should be kind of the cornerstone of anything you do. Like when you think about like what do you want to do, it's safety fits in really good with your goals, right? Like the most important thing about anything is knowing where you're going, right? And you guys are all here because you love arm wrestling and you want to get better at arm wrestling, and somehow arm wrestling fits in your life. And the most powerful thing you can do to get better at it is to figure out exactly where it fits in your life. Okay, and there's this thing like with moving forward is understanding that so much of everything that you do in your life, and arm wrestling's no different, is you're going to do so much better as a unit, as a family, moving forward together, right? So arm wrestling, you really need each other, not just on the table, but for ideas and support and motivation and making sure that you stay on track, making sure that you stay true to what your mission is. So looks like you guys got a really good, new, energized group here in Sydney. So the main thing that if I can leave you guys with is really take care of each other, give each other good energy, okay? Arm wrestling, the training for arm wrestling on a practice table, it's all just energy exchange, okay? Like you guys are working with each other, like you're sharing energy, and you have to make sure that energy's good. Energy in, energy out. What you give is what you get back. You want it to be healthy. When you think about getting better at anything, it's like an investment strategy, okay? Every second of your life is an investment. Every bit of energy you have coursing through your veins, where you direct it is what you will get better at, okay? And when you spend time arm wrestling, you're gonna improve at it. You want to make sure that you're at the right intensities. That's as a group and as an individual. Like you want to be able to invest every day. Every day you want to be able to make that investment. If your goal is to be as good as you can be, you want every day to be able to make a deposit. As big of a deposit as you like, depending on where arm wrestling fits in your life. Okay, so I've learned some new things over the past couple years, and everywhere where I get to go, I'm lucky because I get to learn from all the people that I see and all the cultures that I see. And I've learned a really interesting lesson over the last while, because no culture is perfect, okay? North American culture, when it comes to strength, when it raises you up, it's not perfect for strength. There's aspects that are good, but something that's really important when it comes to strength, physical strength, is really, really listening to your body. Your body is really good at telling you what it wants. And always listen to how your body feels, how it feels. If it feels good, that's a great indication that you're doing the right thing. If it feels bad, you don't do it. A lot of people have this feeling of like guilt that they're not training hard enough or they have to push through the pain. These are false ideas, okay? Everything you do when it comes to arm wrestling, physical preparation, and expression in training should always just feel good, okay? So keep that in mind whenever you're playing, whenever you're practicing. And that's why we do it. We do it to feel good, and your body's not going to lie to you. That's, you know, everything should be enjoyable. But we'll get into weights. We'll get into types of technique. Do you guys have any questions for me before we get too far?
How much you weigh?
Right now, so this is really normal for me. I think that I'm probably like 242, 110 kilo probably, maybe a little bit heavier is normal for me in the morning. I'll try and get a little bit bigger at times. I can suck down to 225, no problem. If the money was right, I could do 200, but it'd probably kill me. But yeah, this is normal for me all the time. Yeah.
So don't you do a lot of fasting?
I do. I think that fasting's great, and especially as I get older. Like, so I have my whole life since the time I was a kid. I just wanted to be as big and strong as I could be, and I still feel the same way. I want to be massive. Okay, I want to be strong. I want to be able to kick ass. Okay, so I do try and get bigger and stronger all the time. It's a slow process. And I have slowly over the course of my life put on a little bit of weight. But when I was 20, probably like when I was 21, I was about 220 pounds leaner than I am now. So I haven't put on a lot of weight, like maybe 10 pounds maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, you're going to face
Hutchings, yeah.
At 225, right?
It's not at 225. I don't think there's a weight limit for this one. So it's just, we just face, yeah. So it's crazy because they took him. So WAL just, so they took, when they made the switch in 2018 to Supermatch format, the lines are like kind of gray still. So they took all of the 225 guys, Marcio, Ron, Matt, myself, and they're like, you're up in the big boy category. And they took Todd Hutchings because he was too good at 195. They're like, you're getting up with the big boys too. So yeah, so I don't think there's a weight cap for this one.
What does he weigh?
I think he might be similar to me. Bob Brown keeps on calling me up and telling me that he's 260, but
he looks 260.
Yeah, I don't think he's 260. I wouldn't doubt if I think I'm probably a couple pounds heavier than him. I think he naturally walks around 230, and he might be a bit heavy, so he might be. I don't know. I think I'm probably heavier than him, but not by much. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be a really good match. He's stylistically, you know, he comes at you, you know, and he's got all the parts. So you guys are my training camp. You guys are getting me in shape all through Australia. This is the perfect preparation for me. You know, I'm arm wrestling hard like every night basically. Malaysia, I'm gonna do the same thing. Go home for 10 days, rest, and I'll be like coiled and twisted steel. So, yeah.
Forgive me, another question. How would you cut weight quickly prior to a competition?
Water cut, yeah, a lot of that stuff it's gonna be online. It's gonna, like, the fighters really know how to do it. Most of it I learned from fighters, so you can definitely follow up there, but it's all water manipulation. Don't try and lose any actual weight if you're gonna try and get into a tournament. Weigh in as early as possible. It's all manipulation of your glycogen. Glycogen holds water. Glycogen's sugar and water. Just cut your carbs. Keep your calories high throughout the entire thing. You're going to lose a ton of water. Manipulate your salt by, your body craves homeostasis. Your body wants to be a certain thing. Give it too much of one thing and it sheds it. So give it too much salt, too much water. Your body gets rid of water, gets rid of salt. Cut your salt. Keep your water high. Get rid of your water. and you just, you're super light.
Do you think it affects your performance? Like it
Yeah, but minimally.
Okay. Not as much as
Minimally,
if you
yeah.
tried to
But the
cut
thing
it
is,
with-
like, it does affect your performance, but at the same time, you know, being 240 pounds in a 225 pound division also affects your performance positively. So, yeah, I think ideally you want to sit at least 10% above any weight category that you're arm wrestling in. You know, that's like standard. You know, if you go into any serious competition in North America where there's money being offered, expect that every single person that you face is 10 to 15% heavier than the max weight allotment if it's a 24-hour weigh-in. Yeah.
Devon, which year do you feel the strongest?
Today, right now, tonight. Tonight is my strongest day on this planet. Yeah. It's really tough to say. Like, arm wrestling, you're going to go up and down, okay, throughout your whole life. And I think the only thing that ever stops your progress moving forward is when you lose your passion for the sport. I think so long as you love what you're doing, you're going to continue to progress. It might not be an even progression, but there's ways today that I'm physically weaker and physically stronger. There's ways today that I'm mentally weaker and mentally stronger. So, I mean, what you are on an arm wrestling table is just it's a whole bunch of factors. But you know, I don't like to ever think about giving up. So I don't ever want to give another answer other than today's my greatest day on this planet. You know, yeah.
Do you believe in peaking for competition?
Absolutely, peaking's massive. Body's all about super compensation. That's the way everything works. Everything in life is a wave. Okay, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. You have periods of lowness and highness. And when you're high, your body fights to become normal. And there's an inertia to this wave. And it goes under. And then when you're under, it strives to come back up. And you can do things to affect this wave and affect it. So, you know, through training and you know, different stimulus, you can pull your wave low. So every time I exercise, I actually become weaker. Okay, and you know, keeping the wave under where I should naturally sit, you know, accelerates my body to push this wave up. The longer I can stay underneath where I should be, the more, you know, as long as I don't get injured or sick, you know, the body fights to shoot this thing up. And then when I finally give it the opportunity to, you know, I'll super compensate. And the longer I've been under, the higher and longer the wave can be over. And then I try and show up to competition, you know, in one of these places. Yeah, peaking is massively important. There's a whole you know, way that you do it, you know, but a lot of peaking has to do with volume of exercise. It's probably the biggest part of peaking. You know, you go from periods of big amount of work and diversity to smaller amounts of work to higher intensity to more precisely what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then you have your end product. Yeah.
So what's yours like? What's your peaking program like?
I find that by nature I'm very flexible. Okay, because I feel like there's a lot to life and there's a lot of things that you want to take advantage of. So I've done peaking where I sit in my basement and I'm very, you know, I analyze everything and I make everything just right, but it's very, very boring, and it doesn't really make me happy. So it's good to understand the concepts and just kind of roll with life. So you have to take what's in front of you and make the best of it. So for me, right now, okay, I've done a ton of weights. Okay, so I basically took a period from November to April 18th. Okay, this is my block. All right, so November, I tried to arm wrestle a big Russian guy. Didn't go so well. But this was like, so that's the end of my last block. Okay, so November came. I gave myself like a little bit of time just to kind of, you know, shake out. This is normal. After every peak, you want to have a period of downtime. So then you start building your base. Okay, I built my base with strength. So I've focused on strength for since November. And I'll talk about how to train specifically for strength because it's the most important thing in arm wrestling, strength. But I've done a good strength block. And now I'm doing the finishing touches with arm wrestling. Okay? Arm wrestling is the tricky part. Okay? Arm wrestling is both the best thing you can do, but it's also one of the most risky things you can do because it's so uncontrolled that you risk more injury than going to the gym, say. But at the same time, there's nothing better. Okay? So I have to manage it, but at the same time, it's like my finishing piece. Okay? And this is how I'm going to set up my peak. Okay, so the last thing my body is really remembering before I actually compete is the most exact thing that I got to do, and that's table time. So most people, when they peak, they go from the most spread out to the most focused. So they'll train their whole body, their whole fitness, to more arm wrestling specifics, to actually like just training just for arm wrestling. Yeah, that's a cycle. Yeah. Yeah.
What's something they wish you could have known sooner to improve at arm wrestling? Like, was there any point when foot just switched and you went, oh, like that's the thing I need to do now?
Yeah, I feel like everything that I do, I kind of do my very best to believe in. I think that the conviction that you have in any program that you're running is really important. So I think that whatever it is that you're doing, you have to think about it enough that you're very convicted, okay? Because without this conviction, you're not going to give it your best effort, okay? It's very important. So really try to understand, wrap your mind around the whole puzzle that you're doing, and once you have all the facts, you go 100% with that. Now, in my arm wrestling career, I've tried so many systems, all trying to achieve the same goal. And I would say that, you know, as a young person, I probably made a couple mistakes. The main thing that you have to understand is it takes time, and it's about being patient, okay? Like, I did too much, a lot, for most of my life, and I probably am still doing too much, but I like it too much to not, but I think that the big thing that I learned later is learning how to really listen to my body. Like, I was very much, when I was younger, I would be into doing, you know, that one more rep, that no pain, no gain, that, you know, just doing stupid things because I thought that I should, because, you know, if I was doing more, you know. I think that's a mistake. Also, you know, when you start to have success, you know, people always try and do more things. And sometimes your ego will lead you down a path that's not healthy. And it's not actually really in line with what you're trying to achieve or your goals. Like, for example, in training, a lot of times I would be the best person in a club, okay? So I would think that I would need to do more, like two-hand work, you know, but it would end up being me getting ripped open with two hands, and this is just not healthy. It's not healthy. Like, you have to understand that bad form is never healthy. Losing is never healthy. Failure is never healthy, okay? You want to avoid all these things in training and in practice. So, like, in the weight room, failure is probably not good for you. All you need is that accurate stimulus to let your body know what it is you're trying to achieve, and then it'll start solving it. But if you actually beat your body, it's not healthy. On the table, when you're arm wrestling, if you're actually fighting and losing and pulling in bad spots, I'm not saying, look, it's fun, right? It's fun to fight, it's fun to do this stuff, but at the same time, if you think about you want to do this your whole life, you don't want to add a whole lot of damage to your arm unnecessarily, you know? So that's probably. I think I would have tried to be a little bit more civilized, but I don't know. Yeah, mistakes are part of it. Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about how I train, okay, and then we'll get back on the table again for a bit, and we'll talk more. So, in my career, okay, I've trained a ton of different ways. I've trained my whole body. I've been involved in different sports. But as I became more and more serious, I focused on arm wrestling more and more. Okay, in my opinion, there's 4 things in arm wrestling. 4 things. Okay, it's how much you can keep your hand coming upwards. Okay, just this rising aspect. Okay, it's massively important in everything that is arm wrestling. It is who's holding on to who. It's making the other person come to you. It's over the top. It's efficiency. Okay, it's the silent killer in all arm wrestling applications. Okay, if you have more of this rise, you always get to dictate what's going on. You might not win, but you have control of what happens. Okay, super important. Okay, this upwards rising motion of both this line, okay, and the thumb line. Okay, the ability to escape. Okay, the ability to be the piece of string that gets chased by the cat. Okay, this is what you are. Okay, you're this thing that can't be reached. Rising, it's super important. Okay, cupping. Okay, not squeezing. Cupping, getting around something and pulling it to your center. Okay, the part that's going to short circuit is your wrist, your cup. Okay, bringing things to your center. Okay. And this can look a few different ways. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high, okay, sometimes it's right through the middle. But this cupping, okay, this cupping chain, super important. It's the strongest thing you have in your arm wrestling arsenal for most people. Pronation or the stopping of the cup, okay? So this turning the palm over is a huge thing in arm wrestling, especially in leagues that are liberal with their handing out of the strap, okay? Because it gives you application right away to find that strength. But this pronation ability, okay? And all that is resistance to getting your palm turned over, okay? Normally it's through the bicep, but this. And the last one is keeping your arm inside your body with the supinating ridge, okay? So just this resistance this way, okay? Supination, okay? These 4 things. This is arm wrestling, and that's about it, okay? There's a few other things you can do, but when it comes to investment, you want to invest in what's going to have the most payback. Every day, I do these movements. Every single day of my life, I do these movements. I go to bed at night thinking the next morning I'm going to push these movements to another level every single day. And I think that, people talk about overtraining and how often can you do it. So long as you don't hurt yourself and so long as you train accurately, you can perform these movements every single day of your life and take steps forward. And I think it's the most efficient investment strategy. I really do. I don't think that there's a faster way to do it than to do a little bit every day at the right intensities. And the right intensities for strength are a safe 3 rep range, a safe 10 rep range. So that's not your failure, you're never failing, but show your body what it is to be strong every day. Yeah.
When would you recommend someone start incorporating weights? Because let's say you're new to arm wrestling and you're pulling against people that are stronger.
Yeah.
Obviously you're going to get stronger week by week, but obviously you hit a plateau. Do you recommend lifting weights at the same time that you're pulling with these people so that you're getting strong in the gym as well as here?
Yeah, so it's a tough question. So always listen to your body, okay? But I would say you can do it. You can do it every single day. You really can, and you can start right away. Now, one of the big limiting factors in arm wrestling is tendons, ligaments, joints. And they're going to tell you not to lift heavy. They're going to tell you that. They're going to talk to you, and if you're new starting, if you pull hard on the table, and then you try and lift heavy weights, it's probably going to be bad. It's probably going to be bad. So I've gone through big phases of my life where I've had tendon issues or post-surgery where I need a lot of work with my tendonitis or with my tendon development. And when you talk about connective tissue development, you want to do reps, okay? It's the safest thing you can do, and reps accelerate your healing, okay? Like when you have tendon issue, I feel like you've asked a question and I'm kind of telling you what I think the problem's gonna be. Like, you can do weights right away. The issue when you have hard table time is you're gonna develop tendonitis. If you work out with reps to like 25, where it's not super demanding and your form can still be good, up to 50, where the reps aren't really killing you, all it is more of a directing of blood flow. Like when you think about your tendons and ligaments, one of the problems is they have very poor blood flow, but they need blood flow, and the only way they're going to get blood flow is through movement. So you have hard table sessions, you're really lit up. A senior guy, a senior person who's still good, who wants that little bit more stimulation, can lift heavy, but if your tendons are wrecked, just train and push blood, push fluids through all those spots that are sore. Never feel pain, okay? You're gonna feel pain, but stay away from sharp pain, okay? Just push the stimulus where you feel it, and kind of remind your body where to heal. Get a good pump. That's it. That's the best thing you can do when you're starting. Yeah.
Question, please. How do you improve your endurance on the table without avoiding overtraining?
Endurance on the table. Okay, so when you think about training arm wrestling, a lot of people talk about endurance, and I think that endurance shouldn't be something that you think about mostly. Okay, most of the time you shouldn't really think about endurance because endurance is gonna slow you down, okay? Like, it's good to have endurance, but at the same time, understand that you don't want to become an endurance athlete, okay? Everybody has a genetic predisposition, okay? It's just the way you're born. Some people are made for speed, and some people are made for the longer haul, okay? So you're gonna have to adapt your fighting style to what your gifts are. And to develop endurance, a lot of what endurance is table efficiency. So if you arm wrestle well with good angles, good vectors, in positions that are more efficient, like you're using more musculature than the other guy and you're using larger muscle groups compared to his smaller muscle groups, you're going to have an appearance of having great endurance at the arm wrestling table. I would not put endurance training high up on my list. You have to be healthy as a person to be able to continue to step forward, and endurance can be leveraged, for other things, but I wouldn't train it a lot. Like when I was saying, what do I need to get to the next level? Very rarely am I going to say, I just need more endurance. Because when two guys, they say go, okay, the person who's stronger is instantly going to become more efficient, right? Like if I can control the match, when they say go, if I can pull the person a little bit towards me, right away, they're going to have triple the endurance because my position is just advantaged, okay? So it is very much more a strength sport than it is an endurance sport. Yeah. You guys, should we pull?
Yes.
And talk? Pull and talk? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.